welcome to CSV2. I am Mia, and yeah, we're gonna get started with, so this training today is about our financial services portion of the CSV role. And we'll get started today with just like a little introduction to remember people's names. And so if you can share your name, have they given you schedules yet for when you're volunteering? Yes, okay. If you can share your name, what shift you are volunteering on, and a piece of financial advice, either like something that you wish you knew when you were younger, or anything related to like personal finances. So my name is Mia. I am not managing any of the shifts, but you will likely see me around the office space. So and then a piece of financial advice. I use an app called Monarch, and it helps you with like tracking your expenses. And I would say like having some way of tracking your expenses to know where your money is going is really good. You don't have to have an app, you can do it for free, but I'm lazy, I guess, and I have an app for it. So we'll go this way.
Okay. I'm Veronica. I don't know, I don't have my schedule.
Okay.
Yeah, and one of financial advice. When I was 20, I used to spend money on clothing and things that I didn't need. So coming back, I was like, no, don't waste money in expensive things. You can save that.
Hi, my name is Nicole, and my shift is Wednesday from 1 to 5. And I think what I would give my financial advice to my member is only if something is on a discount, it doesn't mean I waste money. I also spend money still, so
Mm-hmm.
I really have to figure out if I need it.
Definitely.
Hi, my name is Grace. My shifts are, I think it's the Tuesday in the around 5:30. My piece of advice, younger generation could be looking. I really last a lot of room for like popular tax classes.
Mm-hmm.
And that piece of getting educated from someone who has experience will help life not only.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Joan. I'm on Tuesday nights with Grace.
Oh, wow.
So we see last each other. And I would have always put a little bit or up to the match of my employer's 401k from the start. Any urgency when I was in my 20s, but more than that.
Mm-hmm.
My name is Paul. Tuesdays, 1.
Mhm.
And financial advice, I would not take any from me.
That's fair.
Just keep working. Everybody wants money.
Mhm.
That's all I know.
All right, thank you. Yeah, so. So we're gonna talk about our financial referral process, which is there's gonna be, you do not need to provide financial advice, nor should you, to customers, but it will be an opportunity for you to connect people to resources to help themselves with their financial lives. We'll talk about what do those conversations look like. We call them money conversations. And we talk about tax time savings, direct deposit options, and more of the details about what are those different referrals that we have. So today's training is going to be pretty content heavy. It's going to be a lot of me talking. But if you have any questions or curiosities about the things, please feel free to ask any questions. And yeah. So, let's see. Does this thing not work? Yeah. Okay. So if you all have the pieces of paper that we talked about last time, this green form, if you remember from CSB 1, this is one of the pieces of intake paperwork that people fill out. And we ask people to, they are required to fill out the yellow and the gray ones. And then the green one is if they're interested, free financial services that are either from Prepare and Prosper or our partners, that if they're interested in learning about them, you all are able to have a conversation with them to help connect them to these resources. So this piece of paper, you know, the customer is gonna fill it out, they're gonna have it with them in their paperwork. They do often like take this with them with the preparer. They might fill it out while they're sitting with the preparer or before they get to the preparer. But this piece of paper is a really good way to start your conversations with people. If they've taken a look at it, you can see, like, if they haven't filled it out, you can encourage them, hey, did you get a chance to look at this? And from there, you'll be able to go more in depth about if they have any questions on here, find out what they are interested in, and have some more conversations. So on the back of the piece of paper, you will see that there is a checklist. So this is like kind of a mini checklist that you'll go through where we'll talk about what those steps are. So the first thing is sharing the initial details. So let's say that somebody filled out this piece of paper and they checked under financial coaching. So you would collect this piece of paper from them, see that they said financial coaching, and then you would come and talk to the customer about what the financial coaching financial referral is, provide those initial details. For each of our referrals, there is a handout or a brochure. So then you would also provide that to the customers so that they can look at that information on their own time. And then, so that's the resources step. The consent then is to see, so let's say that they checked financial coaching, you had the conversation, you answered any questions and you gave them the brochure. You can let them know that if they would like, we would contact them directly so that they can get connected to the service. And so the thing that we need for them to do if they want to be contacted is sign their consent to share the information, because we're going to talk a little bit more about what kind of reach out people will be receiving from these different organizations, but we do need their consent to share the contact information because some of the organizations are outside of Prepare and Prosper. So if they're interested in the service and they want to be reached out to, then we do need the signature consent. And then when you're done with the customer, you will be taking this form and entering it into our financial services log. So for each shift, there's going to be this blue piece of paper where you just write if you did make any referrals, you would write the name and which, uh, referrals they were interested in, check the box. And then there is also, so you write it on there, the log, and then there is a tracking form online. So there's going to be a computer at the front desk. You will transfer their contact information and say what referrals they were interested in the online form, because that is the form that actually makes it so that we share the contact information with our partners. Yes. And then, I think this order is kind of mixed up. This next steps, you would be explaining any next steps to the customer before you log it, because the logging would happen after you've already had those conversations. So we're gonna, just to reiterate, you share the initial details, you provide the brochure, you get their consent for us to contact them, and then you track those things on the log and the online form, so that way we can reach out to the customer about what they were interested in. And these are just examples of the different resources that we have. That we have. If you're interested in, well, so these are the handouts, but the information actually is in your CSV manual for each of the resources as well. We'll go through them together here. But yeah, so these are what they look like, the things that you'll be handing out for the different referrals, and I'll point out each one as we go through them.
And this has like the same limit of people who earn less than 70,000, or it's for everyone?
Yeah, the only one, the financial coaching one also has an income limit, but it's above our tax limit. And the Exodus lending one does have some like, I think it does have some restrictions about like, it's more about like what the type of service that they provide. But yeah, I think all of them should be, there might be some eligibility requirements for some of them, but it wouldn't be based off of the income. Nobody would just be disqualified because of their income for our customers. Any other questions? That's a good question. Okay. I will just point out, we really want to emphasize that we do need to have their approval and consent to share the information. And it is really important for some of these, if we're making this financial referral, for example, one of them is for financial planners, a person who is a certified financial planner will reach out to the customer and call them. It is important to communicate to that customer, somebody's going to reach out to you about this referral. Because if they don't really anticipate that that's going to happen, they might get a call and they might be like, oh, this is a scam or something. Sometimes people forget, what they signed up for. But so we want to just be making sure that we're very clear, like somebody's going to reach out to you from this organization or talk to you about like your personal finances, and having them really know that like, that's what I'm signing up for here. So that way, they aren't caught off guard by that referral. So that's also why it's important to actually have these conversations with people and ask them, and not just use the form that they filled out without having that conversation with people. Okay. So I think page 24 of the manual. Don't think that I have one. But so page 24, I think, is that the? Yes, so we're gonna talk about money conversations. Dang it. Okay, this thing doesn't work. I need to put it away. So a money conversation is a conversation that involves financial situations or money in general. And these are the kinds of conversations that we are hoping CSVs have with the customer at some point throughout their process while they're getting their taxes filed. So it prompts customers to reflect on and share about their financial situations and goals. There is no set agenda, but it may open up the door for referrals and services. So these, referrals and services, we by no means intend to like push people to sign up for these things. It's just that if we are having conversations or somebody expresses interest, that we are connecting them to resources that are helpful to them, but it's not a required thing. They don't need to sign up for anything. We also are not trying to sell anything. There's no like incentive for you to do that at all. It's just if these things are a good fit for people based off of the conversations that you're having with them, then it's an opportunity for them to get access to those resources. And even beyond like their getting connected to resources, that element of just prompting people to reflect on their finances. I think that, we don't talk about money very often in conversations with random people. It can be something that sometimes we like even avoid thinking about. But during this time while people are here getting their taxes done, it can be just an opportunity for people to reflect on their finances and also like just to know that there are opportunities out there for improving your financial situation. So one of the things that we try to encourage is using powerful questions. So of course you might have your own way of how you approach having conversations with people, but powerful questions are a tool that you can use to kind of guide what that conversation might look like and prompt some more robust answers out of people. So the goal is to have them share some more information using open-ended questions and avoiding yes or no questions. So the customers then are really able to, if they're answering your questions, they will take that discussion in their own direction rather than if you're just answering yes or no questions and or limiting questions, people might just answer based off of what they think you want them to say instead of sharing like what's really on their mind or what their values are. So if you can take a look at your guide in there and read through some of those powerful questions, and then I'm going to ask somebody to share ideas. I'm going to ask anybody to share ideas on other powerful questions that you might be able to use when talking with customers. Or if there's one in there that you really like that you wanna read out loud. Anyone have any thoughts on that? Is there a question that you think you could ask that's a powerful question, or a reading off one that you like from in there?
I like the first one. What are you planning to do with your tax refund this year? Because you're kind of starting with the happy blues.
Yeah,
And so if someone had needing some. um, you know,
definitely.
you're ahead now.
Right, yeah, that's a good one. It's definitely, not a yes or no question, so people could come up with a variety of answers for what that is, depending on the answer. It might even lead into some different types of referrals. For example, if somebody said, um, oh, I wanna buy a house, I'm using it to save for a house, or I'm trying to pay down debt. These are kinds of things that, we'll talk about the different referrals, but already those two things, I'm like, I know which referrals to, that might be helpful for that person and their financial goals. Even if people, one of the things that we'll talk about in the checkout portion of the training is that we have saver quotes. So people who put some of their refund into a savings account, we have like a little piece of paper where they can write down what are they saving for. And I think one of my favorite ones was somebody wrote a fancy dinner on theirs. And it's like, even it doesn't even have to be like long-term financial goals. It can also just be like treating yourself to something. Hi, welcome. I'm Mia.
Hi,
Nice to
I'm
meet you.
Adriana.
Adriana. Okay, nice to meet you. Whenever you want, if you could make a name tag, that would be great. We're just talking about powerful questions. So yeah, any other powerful questions, Paul?
What, okay, like, this, what are you planning to do with your tax refund this year?
Mhm.
Have you ever had anybody push back, say, none of your business, just do my taxes, I wanna get out of here?
Sure.
Let me give people with attitudes like that, maybe.
Sure. Yeah, that is a good point. I will say there are some people who, they are just here, they just want to do their taxes. They're not interested in learning about like financial referrals and resources and that kind of thing. And if that's the case, let them be. That's totally fine if that's how they want to get their stuff done. Yeah, and also, that the powerful question thing, it might not be, I'm approaching somebody for the first time and saying, hey, what are you doing with your refund? Like there's beyond, this is a tool that you can use to start to get into this, but I'm sure like you're also talking with the customer, like asking like, how was their day? Like, do you have any questions? Like, there's other things that might be going on. You can let them know that there's snacks and water. There's other things that go around that conversation that you will also be able on your own to just tell like which people are talking with you or engaged and might want to learn more information versus which people are maybe just, I just want to do my taxes and that's it, which is totally fine. We definitely, I think that something that I actually usually talk about before I get into this is that, with having these conversations, it is important for us to recognize that talking about personal finances can be triggering for some people. To be asked that kind of question can be like that's none of your business, like, don't talk to me about that. And so, it is important that when you are having these conversations, making sure that the customer feels safe, and making sure that, you're not pushing any boundaries that people are setting. I think that one of the things that is really helpful in these conversations is that they are here to get their taxes done. A lot of our customers do have that trust with us as well. And so some of those conversations about their finances do happen easier. And so this is the space to be able to do that. But of course, we want to be mindful that for whatever reason, some people may not be comfortable with doing that, and we never want to push that onto people. So yeah, thanks, Paul. That's a good point. Hi, sorry, I'm Mia. What was your name?
Zainab.
Zaina? Okay, nice to meet you. Have you two watched the CSV1 training yet? Okay, so just to give you context for what we're talking about, we're talking about the financial services portion of the CSV role. So CSV1 is about check-in and screening. You can watch the training about that. And then CSV2, right now we're talking about our financial referrals and how to kind of start the conversation. Sorry, I'm just trying to determine. Let me see what time we're at here. 60. Okay, so this green sheet is a part of our intake paperwork that we give to customers when they check in. I'm not gonna go through this in a ton of detail right now because we do need to keep moving through this. But this is what customers mark if they are interested in financial referrals. And then you're having conversations with people about the financial referrals and connecting people to those resources. So that's what that is. Oh, wait. Okay. And these are this is the paperwork that people receive at the beginning. Okay. So, yeah, so another thing about these conversations is that you do really want to be paying attention to what people are giving you. So like, for example, with Paul, it's a very direct, that's none of your business, but you know, listening to what people are saying, let the customer really guide the conversation and where it's going and what they're comfortable with talking about. Note if there are any emotions that come up or any values that they're talking about. For example, like if someone says that they're nervous about credit card debt, that would be, you know, just taking note of how are they feeling about it and what are the different things that they're talking about is going to help you with making the referrals. And then, so, I am going to, we're gonna skip this activity because we moved around some things in this training and I'm already a little bit behind. So we're gonna talk about, oops, new account options. So in CSV1, we talked about one of the checklist items was to ask people if they are using direct deposit in order to receive their refund. And as I kind of alluded to last time, we have some direct deposit options for people who don't have that, but they are interested in doing that. So we're going to talk about those. There are two options. A little bit though about why it might be helpful to encourage direct deposit for people. It can be a faster way for people to receive their refunds, a more secure way. There can be theft of checks in the mail. That is certainly something that happens. It can be easy to set up with the tax return. We have an option where people can get a prepaid card that you help them sign up for. It's immediate. They get their routing and account information right away, and they can just put it into the tax return. And there's no fees or charges for anybody who is receiving a check and might go to a check cashier place where they would take out a portion of their refund from that service of cashing their check. So that is, you can bring up these things if people are like, well, why would I want to do direct deposit? Of course, if they're like, no, I just want to do the paper check, then that is fine. But the options that we have are the CFR prepaid debit card. So this is not a bank account, it's a prepaid card. That means that they can only use the amount of money that is on there. It is not a checking account, it's just on that card. We'll talk a little bit more about the details of that. And then we're gonna talk about fair, we used to offer checking and savings accounts that were actually designed by Prepare and Prosper in partnership with Sunrise Banks. However, we're no longer partnering with Sunrise Banks for our own products. But we will talk about the options that we have for people getting access to checking and savings accounts, banking options. So first of all, CFR focus card. If you can turn to page 40 and 44 in your manual, this is going to provide more details about the CFR card. So CFR stands for Community Financial Resources, and it is a nationwide program. They do a lot of partnerships, and VITA is one of the programs that they partner with to provide these cards. And it is with US Bank. So this helps people to get access to direct deposit. They also do have an option for linking a savings account to their card if they're using the online banking option. And there is customer service by phone at any time. But one of the things that I will point out is that even though it's a US bank card, it is not a US bank account. If a customer tries to go to a US bank branch to be serviced, they will not be able to receive service. There is the specific customer service number that they can call to resolve any issues through that. So that is important to point out to people that this isn't a bank account, it's just a card. There is customer service, but it's through the specific number for the prepaid card, not with US Bank. But they can use US Bank ATMs and things like that to like get money and that kind of thing. They just can't get service at the branch. So the requirements for opening the CFR card, they must be at least 14 years old. They do need to have a valid state ID or a driver's license. They need to have a social security number or an ITIN, which is going to be all of our customers that come in. And they do need to have a physical address. The PO box can be used for card delivery, but general delivery is not accepted. Who is a good fit for a prepaid card? So people that don't already have a direct deposit option, they don't already have a checking account. If they want to be using a card for online payments or phone payments as a debit card, and, or if they perhaps want, their payments to be separate, if they want their refund to be separate for some reason from their other money. And it's also a good option for people who have concerns about garnishments, because since it's not a, bank account, which, a bank account, they may garnish, deposits that are coming into your account, so. And then it's not a great option for people who, prefer to deal with cash more. There are some fees related to depositing cash onto the account, so if they are wanting to use this as, more of like a longer term option, but they're also like depositing on cash, a bank account actually might be better for them to avoid some of those fees, because they have to go to like a kiosk thing to, deposit cash onto their card, and there's a fee when you use the kiosk. And it's not a great option for people who already have a direct deposit and are comfortable with what they're doing. If, you know, they're feeling like they're being serviced and that they're able to get what they need from their current option, then, there's no need for them to get the prepaid card. So some of the talking points, it's super easy for us to set this up. Each of you will have a login for enrolling people into the CFR prepaid debit card. All the information that we need to enroll them, we have because we're doing their taxes. So it's very easy to get that set up. You get the account information right away. There's no like approval, like as long as they have, the ID and social security card, their account will be approved. Which is not always the case if you're trying to open a bank account. There's no minimum balance requirements. There are no penalties for overdraft because you can't overdraft. It's prepaid. You have to put the amount. You will get denied if you try to spend more than what's on your card. You can use the US Bank things. There is the online banking, and you are able to add that savings account, in the online banking if you choose to use that. And you can continue to use the card outside of your tax, refund. So if you wanted to set that up with your employer, you could provide your direct deposit and account information, for that as well. So as I said, all CSVs are gonna get, you're all gonna get your own login. You will want to, make sure that you're bringing your cell phone, to, your shifts, because you do need the authentication code when you log into your, account to enroll people. And, yeah, something to note also, oh, no, card enrollment requirements are the same as previous years. Sure. Yes.
To log people in, we don't have to be able to know.
So the enrollment is through your account. So, yes, but the enrollment, like, so I'm gonna demo right now what that looks like. Okay. So the link for the enrollment is going to be on the laptops that you all will have access to. So you go to the website and then, it asks you for your information, so. Oh, wait, this is the sign up. Okay, it's log in. Okay, so you log in with your account. And this is what the website will look like. Sorry, it's kind of blurry. The projector is just like that, but really, so there's the dashboard, there's not really any information on here. And then at the top it says enroll. That's what you click on when you are enrolling a customer. And then it's this form. So you will select, bless you. The location, when you select the location, it is gonna be, Prepare and Prosper main office, if you're here at the main office. If you're at a different site, then you would select that site. And it requires you to put the first name, last name, social security number, date of birth, address. And the address, I would say, really important is that if the person has an apartment number, you need to put the apartment number. If you don't put the apartment number, they will never get their card. We have to contact CSFAR, get that address fixed. And so I would say best practice is to make sure that the customer looks at your screen and confirms that the address is correct. Or, you know, even not apartment number, like if you put the wrong number for the house or whatever it is. That is the biggest problem that we run into with CFR cards, is that address not being correct. So make sure you're checking with the customer about that. You put a phone number, that would be the customer's phone number, and then an email address. There are customers that don't have an email address. If they don't have an email address, you can just put in a dummy email address for them. And when you submit it, it will give you a confirmation page. I'm going to show you what that looks like in a second, but the other thing here is you can search old cards. So we have a lot of customers who they've been coming to do their taxes for years. They have always used the prepaid card, and sometimes they you know, they might not be sure if they have the right card, or like these different things, and or they're not sure what their account number was. They might have the card but not the account number. We do need the account number, not the number that's on their card. Those are different numbers. And so we can go in our system and look to see what their account information is, so that we can use that for their tax return. If the customer does have like multiple cards and they're not really sure which one it is, it might be better to just open a new card for them. But yeah, so that's a thing. Other than that, there's not really like anything that it's a pretty simple website. Grace.
So they can open unlimited debit card account?
Yes. Ideally, they shouldn't, because people, you know, they get all their things mixed up. But we can open as many as we can. There's not a restriction on that, so that's helpful for people who tend to lose their things. Yeah. Another thing is that this might take some extra time, and it depends on if the customer wants to do this, but if they have multiple cards, and they know like which one they use, but we don't know what the account number is to it, they can call the customer service to get their account number as well. If this isn't helpful to them to look it up this way, because they have too many cards or something. And then, so I'll just show you quick what so when you fill out that form, what will pop up on the screen immediately is the congratulations pop-up, and it will tell you like their name, their routing and account number, and then it will say print this page. And so you'll want to print that off so that way the preparer can use it to enter the account information for the return, so they can get their refund on that card. Questions about, yes, the prepaid card?
About this process,
Yes.
when do we talk to them about? After they, get everything, and then are we the ones, to approach them and then discuss this, or?
Yeah. Yeah, so this one out of all of the referrals, is a little bit different where you might find out that they, will want this referral or be using this one, right at the beginning when you're asking them, do you have a direct deposit option? And if they're like, no, some of them will even be like, get me the prepaid card, like they'll already know, what they need. And then at that point, you can circle back with them to help them with opening it. A preparer might also come over to you and say, hey, I was talking with the customer and they're interested in the prepaid card. And then you would enroll the customer in the prepaid card. The other situation might be you might be having like these conversations and you learn that they're interested in the prepaid card after they're already prepared and maybe they're waiting for that to be reviewed. And you discover that that is something that they're interested in, and you would sign them up for it then. And then we could add that to the return afterwards. So the prepaid card can kind of happen like at the beginning, in the middle at some point, or even towards the end when you're doing, if you're doing the financial services conversation later and find out that they're interested. Yeah. Any other questions about the prepaid card?
How many people choose the prepaid card?
Quite a few. I would say probably on a shift where there's like 30 appointments, you could have anywhere from, I guess, 0 to 7 people using the prepaid card. Some of them already have their previous year's prepaid card as well. So, but it is definitely like if you don't have a bank account, the most popular option for getting a refund. Mhm. Any other questions about the prepaid card? I think I already said this. You can use the same card year to year. The other thing is, people might, for direct deposit, this applies to prepaid card and other options. They might, say, oh, I used the same account for last year, and we might have their routing and account information on the prior year tax return. Or I guess like another example would be if the customer opened a card, they lost their card, but we have their routing and account information. Then we could tell them, order your new card, we're gonna put the refund on the same account that you opened previously. Yeah. Okay. So, let's see. I'm gonna talk about FAIR and then we're gonna take a 10-minute break. So FAIR, oops. Yes, you all can turn to the pages 45 and 47. However, that information is outdated. So a little bit of background about FAIR. FAIR is a Prepare and Prosper program. It's been a program since, I think, like 2015. We partnered with Sunrise Banks in order to create banking accounts that are more accessible to people. So there were certain things like not having overdraft fees, not having like high maintenance fees on the accounts, also not denying people for uh, bad banking history. There's, does anybody know what check systems is here? People know what a credit report is? So check systems is basically like your credit report, but for banking. And that if you overdrafted on an account or you have any late fees on bank accounts from the past, a lot of bank accounts, if you try to apply for them, they will automatically deny you. And so we had our accounts, our system would not automatically deny you. First, we would check to see if the system was saying that you had fraud on your account or if it was just from an account being closed on you in the past. And so if it was fraud, you would be denied, but if it was for those other reasons, then you could still open up an account. Some people might refer to these kind of accounts as like second chance banking options. But that was something that we were providing. Sunrise Banks is no longer providing those specific products. They do have similar products that we now refer to. But FAIR, their goal is still to give people access to bank accounts, but we no longer enroll people directly into our own accounts. Now, what we do is we meet with customers and we talk about different options for bank accounts. One of our partners is called Bank On. They provide a list of different bank accounts that meet different people's needs, like credit union versus larger bank, or like which ones have online account options, or like is there an ATM that is near you? They talk through these options with people. So FAIR is still meeting with people, helping them to enroll in bank accounts, but it is not anymore the bank accounts that are listed on your manual in there. So this information is from our old slides when we had these accounts, but they're still relevant. FAIR's goal is still to provide safe, affordable, and accessible banking options to by trusted community partners. And we focus on people who have been marginalized by the traditional banking system. And there are options that people can get access to, where if they have bad banking history, if somebody tells you like, oh, no, nobody's going to open an account for me, like I already know this, you can tell them that FAIR can still help them with finding an option that might be able to open an account for them anyway. And something that we did used to do was we used to be able to open these accounts, get account numbers, and have people put their refund into their bank account. I just left this slide on there to point that out. However, that is something that we are not doing anymore, where they can get their refund right away, but they can sometimes meet with a FAIR navigator during their appointment to talk about banking options. So Sometimes during your shifts, it depends on which shifts, usually the ones during the day. You might have somebody who joins your huddle that says, hi, I'm the fair navigator. If somebody is interested in opening a bank account, you can have them come talk to me. And there's an office that they sit in that room. And so then you can refer people in that moment directly to that service. But not doing the refunds anymore. They can go onto the website. This is just an image of the website so that they can set up an appointment. They could meet virtually or in person with someone after their tax appointment if that was something that they were interested in. So those are the two direct deposit options. Just to kind of reiterate like what the rule is. You can encourage people to use direct deposit if they already have accounts, great. If they somehow in your conversations you find out that they have an account but maybe it's not working the best for them, you can refer them to other options. But some people will just want a paper check and that is fine. And then making sure that people have their account information. Does anybody have the gray intake form out? Yeah, but the gray one, if you look on the back there of that, the very last page, people can put their account information in there. It's fine if they just have it printed on the document. We just need it written down somewhere so that way the preparer and the reviewer can look at it. But if the customer needs help, you can feel free to help them with writing that information in. Actually, we'll get into that in a second. We'll talk about splitting your refund and what that might look like after our break. Are there any questions before we go on break? We're gonna have a 10-minute break. Yes, Grace.
Confused and stuff, it feels like outdated, do you have like outdated?
No, not right now, but it is very likely that we'll come out with that. I actually had a conversation with one of the people on the fair team today. And there have been ongoing changes. The partnership with Sunrise Banks that ended was something that was new to Prepare and Prosper that we weren't anticipating. And so fair is kind of in a limbo stage right now where our materials aren't updated yet, but we're still doing our best to give people options for access to banking. There is no new partner currently, yeah. But Bank On is a national resource that is out there that we're using their resources to be able to share bank accounts, banking options with people, but it's not, we don't have a bank partner specifically that we work with, which in my opinion is actually better because that means that we're able to share a lot more different options that might fit people, because to be honest, the fair accounts before, there were some limitations to who it was a good fit for, but now that we're able to offer a bunch of different types of banks accounts, then it opens up our resources for people. But yeah, thanks, good questions. Any other questions before we take our break? Okay, it is 7:06, so if we can come back at 7:16. Any other questions about things?
Is the huddle at the beginning, is it just like a quick meeting?
Yeah.
To expect?
So, so for a bit of context, this is also in the CSB one training, but, our customer support volunteers, you all are the people who are greeting people at the front desk. You greet them. You also are doing this financial services thing throughout, and then you're also doing the checkout. And then we also have preparers and reviewers. Preparers are the ones that are sitting down with the customer and preparing the return. And then the reviewer is, afterwards, the customer goes back into the waiting area and they review the return. So at the very beginning, you'll have usually 3 managers on your shift. At the very beginning, we all come together in the space. The manager is gonna share any like important things to note. They will talk about tax tips too, which is just making sure like reminding people of certain things. They'll let you know how many appointments we have for that day. And just, depending on who your manager is, they might have you introduce yourself and do an icebreaker. I'm one of those managers, but not all of them are into that. I think it's fun and nice to get to know, other people, but, yeah, so that happens at the beginning at whatever the shift start time is, and then appointments start, 15 minutes, after that, but a lot of people do show up early for their appointments, so it's a little bit of overlap. So we do try to do the huddles as soon as we can, so that way we can, get to the customers.
And then one more question, do preparers also work the same shifts every week, like?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, we do have, for our summer shifts, there are people that are on regular, schedule each week. They're doing the same day, but we also have the option for people to do 5 shifts throughout the summer.
Right.
And so there might be like different people that come in or are subbing in for somebody who can't make it on a shift. But yeah, generally, most of the people will be the same people on your shift.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. Any other questions before we get back into it? Okay. Thank you for, your attention. I appreciate it. I do eventually get to a point where I'm like, dang, I'm so sick of hearing myself talk. Because this one is kind of long and content heavy. But we shall get through it. We'll check in, halfway through the rest of this content to see if we need to take another quick break. All right, so now we're gonna talk about actually something that I just want to point out that is helpful. So the Boost Your Money form, we just had talked about the 2 direct deposit options, just to point out where this is on your referral sheet. It's in that box with the dots is the prepaid card and the bank accounts. So that is where people may be indicating that they're interested in those things on there. Okay. And then the next thing that we'll talk about is tax time savings. So this is the next bullet on there, save and win. And you can find that information. We do have, it's on page 48 of the manual. So, people who come to get their taxes done here at Prepare and Prosper, very often this is the time where they're receiving the most amount of cash that they do throughout the year. So this is the biggest windfall of money that they may receive. And so it is a really great opportunity to encourage people to save. money, for saving things like for emergencies, preventing debt by having a savings cushion, and also boosting financial confidence. Those are all things that, savings help people with. Other times that people may have savings is bonuses at work, or if they receive a inheritance. And so we like to use this time, we like to call this a money moment, where people are thinking about their finances to encourage them to take that action for themselves. And so one of the ways that people can do this is they can put parts of their refund into different accounts. So on the intake paperwork on the back, you see that there's the gray one, the gray sheet. People can choose to put their refund into splitting their accounts. So this is one of the ways that we encourage people, if they want to save some of their refunds, to put it in different accounts. And often, you may be having this conversation with customers, but often it does happen with the preparers, because the preparer will be the one that's entering the account information. And something that we do here at Prepare and Prosper is we have saver quotes. So anybody who put all or some of their refund into a savings account, we have like a piece of paper that says like, what are you saving for? And people can write it down. And then we have a wall in there that eventually gets filled up with a bunch of these quotes of what they are saving for. And the other thing that we do is we have our Save and Win contest. So Save and Win, in order to enter this contest, you just need to put at least $50 or all of $50 or any amount above $50 into a savings account, and give your consent to sign up for the contest. And then we have drawings for $100 for people to win it's either a Visa gift card or a check. So this was actually a program that used to be national, like VITA program. It was defunded, but Prepare and Prosper decided that it was something that they wanted to continue, so it is now being funded by Prepare and Prosper to provide this contest to encourage people to save. And yes, I think during the tax season, we were pulling, I think, 2 winners every week for this contest. And I think during the summer season, we'll be pulling for 1 winner every week, because we just don't have as many people with that. Oh. Yes. I think that's everything. And if they do win the contest, somebody from PMP will call them to let them know that they've won. Those are fun calls to. I don't make those calls, but I overhear them sometimes, and it is exciting. A lot of people are always like, I never win anything. Like, so it is fun. All right, so next, the section that we're going into is all of our financial referral partners. A couple of these are actually Prepare and Prosper programs, but most of them are not Prepare and Prosper programs. So, oops. The first one that we're going to talk or the first thing that we're gonna talk about is, so we have financial coaching, financial planning, and financial counseling. These are three different referrals, and they are, I guess the reason why we point them out as different things is, because it does seem like it might be very similar things. If you're just talking about this, you don't have like the background and like what these different terms mean. You might just assume like, oh, that's just somebody that's helping you with your finances. But these are distinct referrals in terms of what are the types of services provided, what kind of support are people receiving. So, first one that we have here is financial counseling. So financial counseling is focused on, people who have a specific financial need. So there's a specific issue that they're dealing with that, the person is gonna help them with problem solving that. So that can be credit card debt, student loan debt, or home buyer, support. So those are, in the moment things that they're trying to work on. And this referral is a brief contact. It's usually a one-time meeting. And there's not a lot of like follow-up afterwards. It might just be connecting people with the resource or that kind of thing, providing them with information so that they can address their issues. Financial planning is about long-term financial goals. So you're planning for the future. This would include things like investments, trust, insurance, retirement. Usually this would be something that you might have a financial planner for your own personal finances to that you would meet with, build a relationship with, continue meeting with that person as they help you to reach your long-term financial goals. But for our services, this is a one-time referral for people. We have certified financial planners that are volunteers who have like a consultation conversation with our customers about like any of these topics that are future looking financial things. It's not focused on a financial problem that they're currently experiencing, but something that is long term. And then financial coaching is focused on making behavior change in your financial life. So it might not, it could include like these issues that people might be facing, but it is more focused on like, how am I managing my money overall? Like, am I saving? Am I working on my credit? Am I making a budget? Those kinds of things. And this one is a longer term commitment. They are meeting with a coach once a month. They have regular sessions and check-ins through that referral. So there is this distinction when you're having conversations with people. You know, different people are going to be at different points in their life. There might be somebody who is very much like in their problem that they're dealing with credit card debt, versus a person who's like, I have savings and I want to know what to do with them to help me in the future. So any person could also have all of these needs at the same time. They, you know, might be wanting like home buyer support. They also maybe just got an inheritance or something. And they want to know what to do to invest that money. That could be something. And then they might also just want like that behavior change, building a budget. It could be all of those things or one of these things, or none of these things. But yeah. Any questions on the distinction between these three different types of financial services? So we're going to talk a little bit more in detail about what are these services actually? How do people get connected to them? What happens when they're connected to these services? So starting off with financial coaching, page 49 and 50 of your manual is Money Mentors. Money Mentors is a prepare and prosper program. It is also volunteer run, just like our tax program is, where people are able to meet with a financial coach and work towards their financial goals. It is focused on behavior change and building financial confidence. And it really is about what does the participant want to do? So, or like what changes they want to see. So they meet ongoing one-on-one with a coach for at least 6 months. It can be up to 2 years. It depends on if that person is feeling like they're meeting their goals or if there are still things that they want to continue to work on after each of the 6 months period. The coaches provide non-judgmental and individualized support. I think that the biggest thing about that support is that it's really about having an accountability person to be checking in with you and seeing like, you know, the coaches, they don't necessarily provide like, they can provide like tips and ideas for how to deal with your financial life, but they're never going to like prescribe like these are the things that you need to do, or like say like this is my advice and you should do it. It is more about how do we support people in their financial lives to take the steps that will help them to reach their goals and what works for them and their what they have going on. The other thing is that people also can attend the virtual peer sessions. So the Money Mentors participants, they have the opportunity to meet together and share what's going on in their lives. Sarah Botts is the one that runs this program, and she often has a financial topic that she's talking about in those sessions, and so people get the opportunity to learn more about their finances and things like that. So this referral is good fit for someone who can regularly cover their basic expenses each month, including housing, transportation, food, and childcare. That's because this referral is about like more like long-term behavior change. You know, if you're not able to pay your bills, if you're actually in a crisis situation, maybe building a budget is not what your priorities are, where you need to be. And so this is really meant for people who kind of already have that baseline. It's going to be easiest for them to get the most out of their program if they're already at that point. It's also good for people who have a specific goal in mind, like I'm saving up to buy a house, or I want my credit score to be this much higher, things like that. And it is good for people who can consistently meet with their coach and are actually interested in talking about their finances and their goals. So Paul's person who was like, that's none of your business, probably wouldn't be the best fit for this program. It would be maybe the person who is like, man, yeah, like I really do want to work on that thing. And is wanting to have those conversations. Kind of the flip side of this, again, if you are experiencing financial crisis, there are likely other resources that you need access to before financial coaching. it's also not a great option for people who have a rep payee or otherwise not able to make their own decisions about, their finances. How they're spending their money. It is not a quick problem solving, the financial coach is not gonna be able to erase your debt or help you to, do that kind of thing. Yeah, and it's not the best for people who can't show up to their meetings. That bullet point. It's clearly there for a reason. Yeah. So, the participant journey, usually for the money mentors, they submit the interest form online. For our customers that are in the clinics, if they're going through this referral process, they, can get contacted to get that online form. And then, they attend a virtual information session about the program. They complete paperwork. They do get, to get their, credit report and score through this program. The financial coach goes through all of that information with them. But they will get matched with a coach and attend their sessions, through that time. And so there's, two options for connecting them to money mentors. There actually is not a QR code. This one. Oh, wait. I don't think that works. Oh, wait, maybe it does. Aha, there is a QR code. So this is the brochure that you would share with people. There is a QR code, that they can use to, get to the money mentors, what do they call it? The interest form that they fill out. And then, the other thing is that they can go through this referral process where they say, I want Prepare and Prosper to contact me about it, and then somebody will reach out to them about, participating in the program. So, you can encourage both. You could do one or the other, whatever the customer wants to do for getting connected. I would say that as much as you're able to encourage this way of connecting people to resources, that is, I think, the way that we help our customers to be successful. Just because, we might sign up for things, say that we're gonna do that thing later, and then kind of forget about it and not really follow through. And so this is a great way to actually help people to, follow through on those things that, we all know that they want to do it, but it's about taking the action to actually do it. Okay. And should take out this slide, but this is something that, we actually did during the tax season. You can see it's during March and April. It was a financial health challenge. Each week there was certain tasks for, completing challenges, and then, there was, if you finished all of the tasks, you got like a prize at the end of it. But anyway, that's no longer a thing, but if you're with us during the tax season, you can also participate in that challenge. Okay, the next one that we'll talk about, financial coaching, or no, wait, counseling. This is provided by Lutheran Social Services, which is another nonprofit here in the Twin Cities. And they provide, counseling focused on a specific financial issue. So it is free one-time meetings, over phone or online. And the really nice thing about LSS is that they do actually have a decent amount of language capacity for different folks. So that is something to be aware of. And yeah, so let's see. Okay. So the financial counseling, these are the different topics that are available for people to talk about. And this is the form that you would hand out to them that it does provide a little bit more details about credit card, debt solutions, successful home buying, and student loan repayment counseling. So those are the things that are on there. They also do help with credit. I don't see that listed on here. Yeah, but you'll see on the, so it's the second one on the back of the boost your money, the green form. They can check which option they are interested in, for the topic that they're needing help with. So to connect people to this, you can provide, you know, this handouts, and then also getting them to check it off and sign to consent to us sharing their information so that LSS would contact them directly to set up that appointment. And I will just reiterate, so I think we talked about this at the very beginning, but on the back side of this is there's a mini checklist. And the thing that you want to make sure for all of these referrals that you're doing is to afterwards put the information from this form onto the financial services log, and to enter this information into our online tracker, which the link will be set up for you on the computer at the front desk. Financial planning. So financial planning, this is a Prepare and Prosper run program as well. This one is also supported by volunteers. Thank you, volunteers, for being here. This is for help with those long-term financial issues. So like investing, what to do with inheritance. Sometimes those things can be a little bit complicated, life insurance, those kinds of things. And so we have our volunteers who are certified financial planners. They will meet with customers for a one-time session, and during this session they're not allowed to sell any products to our customers. That is a VITA guideline that we do have, where we're not soliciting any business from our customers, but they can provide guidance on like what are the next steps that you should be taking, where might you want to go in order to get access to those resources, answer questions, that kind of thing. But with that, I think it is actually helpful for some of our customers to know that like these people are not going to try to sell you anything. They're just there to answer your questions and provide you with some guidance. But they are not allowed to take on any of our customers as their own clients. So some of the things that they can help with, retirement accounts, you know, how to make, what's maybe the best way of handling them, if people need to move money in different ways, life insurance, education savings. One of the things that we'll also talk about is 529 college savings plans. That's another one of our referrals, but that might be something that somebody is interested in talking with a financial planner about inheritance investing. So with this particular referral, so this one is at the top of the back of the page for you financial planning. They do want to have a little bit more details for this referral about what the person is interested in talking about. So if you are able to provide more information about what are they interested in, and there is a spot where you can put notes, and then you will want to transfer those notes onto the online tracker, because our financial planners just like to be prepared for those conversations a little bit more. So if you're able to do that, that is very helpful to them. Also make sure that the customer is aware that they will be receiving a call from this person. The person should be saying, hi, like I'm a volunteer with Prepare and Prosper. Like this is what I'm doing. But I will say this is the one where people might get, if they don't remember or didn't realize that they fully consented to this, it might be the one that is a little bit more jarring to get that call from a financial planner, you know, just because this one tends to be something where people might think, oh, you're trying to sell me something. And so we just want to avoid having that confusion and making people feel uncomfortable because of that. So making sure that you're being clear that a financial planner is going to call you, but they're a volunteer with Prepare and Prosper, so that they're aware of it. And I think that this also is a little bit of feedback that we got from our volunteers, that when they call customers, sometimes the customer is like, who are you? Like, I don't want that. Like, and so that's why we emphasize this with this particular referral. The other thing is that if people are interested in this, but they don't want, they're not quite ready to have that conversation yet, they can always go onto our website, and there's a form that they can fill out so that they can be contacted at a later date for that referral. So you can even just provide just the piece of paper. If they don't want to have that conversation yet, then just don't mark that and put it into the online tracker. Just give them the piece of paper so that they can do it on their own time. And yeah, everything on here is what I said. Okay, so we just talked about the financial coaching, financial counseling, financial planning. Were there any questions about those 3 referrals? Right. So let's see, how many more do we have here? We got 3 more referrals. Again, this one is the content heavy one, but we're almost through here. So the next one is Exodus Lending. Exodus Lending is an organization that helps people with paying off predatory loans. So predatory loans are loans that have interest rates that exceed over 36%. These loans might be in the form of payday loans, pawn loans, title loans, or even there are some online installment loans out there now that fall into this category of predatory loans. The issue with predatory loans a lot of the times is that people may be taking out these loans at a point in time where they are really strapped for cash. They take out this loan, don't really know about the interest rate, how expensive it is, and not being able to pay off that debt because the interest keeps racking up. And so Some people can end up in situations where they are actually paying more in interest. It's not that hard to get there with the interest rate being over 36%. And end up continuing to try to pay off this debt, which can be harmful, to them, especially if this is something that goes into collections, for them. And so Exodus Lending helps people with paying off these high interest debts at a 0% interest rate for up to $1,500. So Exodus Lending, they pay off the debt, they then take on up to that $1,500. And then they have installment payments that go to Exodus Lending instead at the 0% interest rate. So again, the connecting to Exodus Lending, very similar. You can provide the handout, have them sign the boosted money form to be contacted directly for it. And with any of these, actually, if you wanted to help the person, oh wait. Never mind. All of these places have websites as well. If you wanted to help them directly sign up for it through their own website, that would work as well. With the Exodus Lending referral, I will say, you know, for people who might actually need this referral, it's not a lot of people, but anybody who would need this referral, it's likely a difficult situation that they're in. So making sure that you're being sensitive to them sharing that information with you is important. There can be a lot of feelings of like embarrassment or, you know, avoidance or shame around like being in this kind of situation. But it is a really good resource for people that are in that situation. So just be aware of that. It's not our most used referral, but again, for the people who do need it, it is extremely helpful for them. I would say this is also one that I have experience where like the people themselves might not be in this situation, but they might actually know other people that are in the situation. And so this is just a really good like word of mouth referral as well for people. Okay. And then the next one is College Bound St. Paul. Oh, I forgot to grab that one, but it is on the it's the last referral. It's in the middle of the page on that Boost Your Money form. And this is a program that was started, I think, in 2021. And it is it's created by the city of St. Paul to provide higher education savings accounts for families in St. Paul. So any child that is born after January 1st of 2020 and is a St. Paul resident gets access to this account. So they can open it as soon as their child is born at this point. And the city of St. Paul provides $50 for each child into this account, and then families are able to contribute their own funds as well into this account. It is you know what, that is very silly that we don't explain this. So this account is a 529 savings account. You actually do get some tax benefit from contributing into this account. So that is something to be aware of. And one of the things about, this account is that, you can continue to get contributions from the city of St. Paul by, participating in, financial health activities, and getting your taxes done at Prepare and Prosper is one of those activities. So if you notice that somebody has like a little kid, born after 2020, this is a really good referral for, being like, hey, did you know that you can get this money right now? Or if they've already signed up for the account, if they already have this, account open, reminding them that they can, get their contribution for completing this activity. The thing about this though, that it is limited to just St. Paul residents. So people from Minneapolis are not able to, have that account. Live in St. Paul. Like, if you move to St. Paul. Yes, I think if you move to St. Paul, though, the child doesn't have to be born in St. Paul. If I'm understanding this correctly. Anyway. So, yes, if, signing people up so that they can, open that account. If they are unsure if they've enrolled in it, you can go ahead and, submit that, that, form, or do the enrollment, or have them fill out the referral sheet. Either way, it won't harm to do that. Yeah, okay. Any questions about, Exodus lending or the St. Paul college bound savings accounts? Okay. Last one that we're gonna talk about is credit reports. So this one is actually on the front of the Boost Your Money form, the second from the bottom. And there are a couple of different options for people to, get information about their credit, in our tax clinics. Also, this information is on page 57 of your manual. So the credit report, just some basics about, what a credit report is. So a credit report, lists the activity history of your credit. That includes your loan balances, your payment activity, credit card balances, that would also include collections on there as well. And credit reports do not show a credit score. So I think that's an important distinction to make when people, when you're letting people know, like, oh, I can get your credit report for you today. Let them know that it doesn't come with a score, because some people just want it for the score. But, yeah, and then the credit reports, they come from, the three major credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. And, we help people with navigating the annualcreditreport.com, which is the official site for you to be able to, get your credit report from those three credit bureaus. So let's see. This option here, the, online, that's the first option when people say, I want to get a copy of my credit report today. It depends on, your comfort level, but we do have, some CSVs that, enjoy doing credit reports with people and pulling those, it is a little bit longer of a process. Sometimes you're not gonna have time to do that with a customer. But if you do have time, it is something that you can help people with going through to get those. So the other option, which is the second one, is that they can fill out this form to request their copy to be mailed to them for their credit reports. We have these forms, they can fill it out and then give it back to us, and Prepare and Prosper will mail it out so that they can request their credit report. So that's another option if somebody is interested and you don't have time to do it, for them to still get their credit report later. Oh. Yes, this is the part of the online. So, if you are pulling credit reports for people, online, usually we prefer that you just print out one copy of a credit report because it can end up being a lot of pages. Some people's credit reports may only be like maybe 10 to 20 pages, and some people have like 150 pages of credit report. So it depends. But the biggest thing about if you're pulling a credit report is, it's mostly about making sure that they have the information. You don't need to be an expert. You don't need to go through it in detail with them. It's just for them to have that information. But if you are comfortable talking through some of the things with them, you can certainly do that. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that, but I think the biggest thing about credit reports is really encouraging people, if they want to look at it, to see if the information that is on there looks familiar to them. That's the biggest thing, that if there's information like names, addresses, phone numbers that are not theirs, that are on their credit report, that can be a sign of identity theft. And that would be a part of just like the idea is like routine maintenance on your personal finances, to know what information is on there. Is my information being used? So that is the benefit of the credit report, because some people will ask, well, if it doesn't come with a score, why would I want to do that? There is still benefit to looking at that report. There also could be things on there like, oh, I forgot that I had this credit card and it still has a balance. Maybe I want to pay that off. Those kinds of things. Yeah. But with credit reports, so we do have a self-paced training that talks more about credit reports and scores, so that if you wanted to help give more information to the customer to be able to understand their credit report and score, you can go through that training. That is going to be on the training site, which I'm just going to demonstrate for you how to get there. So this is Prepare and Prosper's website. At the top of the page, again, sorry it's blurry, but you can see that it says training site here at the top purple bar. You click on that, and this is how you get access to the training site. And then it will give you this login page. You do not need to log in. You can just click access as a guest. And then it will take forever to load.
if you're training for this, wouldn't you wanna log in?
Um,
Or,
no, so you can access all the materials, through the guest version. So. Yes, so all of the courses, you don't need to log in, you can see them here. So. Tax clinic resources. The training for our other programs, the financial planners, the money mentors, coaches are also on this site. The only one that is locked that you have to log into is site manager training. Oh, my goodness. Well. I've shown you how to get there. There's, when you're on there, oh, okay. So scroll down to, the bottom, there is self-paced trainings, and then this is where, you'll find. I'm gonna tell Holly that the credit report training isn't there. That's where you will find it once I tell Holly to put it up there. All right. So, this is one that, is kind of like a go at your own pace if this is something that you're interested in learning more about and, learning through experience with customers. I enjoy personally like going through this kind of information with people. It's a great learning opportunity for them. To also like, how can I do this for myself in the future as well? But it is more of an optional thing if that's not your comfort level. You don't need to become an expert on credit reports. You can just either like print it for them or do the form version where they will get it mailed to them. Okay, any questions about the everything, anything? Yeah, so just to kind of reiterate, so this is really going to be the thing that will get you started with your conversations a lot of the times with people about these services. It's something that the customer, they'll fill out when they're doing the intake paperwork. I find that the kind of everybody kind of does it a little bit differently, but what I like to do is when customers are sitting with the preparer, you can go walk around where the preparers are and like see if that form is on the table, take a look and say like if it's completed, then you can go ahead and take a look at it, prepare yourself for the conversation that you want to have with that person, gather your brochures for what they were interested in. And then when they're done with the preparer, you could go and have that conversation with them. So that we have different stations where you could say, hey, I saw you were interested in these things. You can come with me and we can sit down and talk about it. The other thing is, if you are going around and seeing, oh, the person didn't fill out the piece of paper, that's an opportunity for you to say, hi, like, did you get a chance to look at this? Are you interested? And so some people kind of ignore it on the first pass, but then when you remind them and be like, hey, there might be something on here that you're interested in, they might take a second look at it and, yeah. The other thing that you might find is, sometimes, clinics can get busy. There's a lot of different things going on. As a CSP, you have a lot of responsibilities. You're checking in people, you're checking out people, and you're also doing this. So it might not be until the very end, when you're checking somebody out, that you might see this and see that they're interested in something. That is another time at which you might be having these conversations. So it really can happen at any time throughout the process. You'll kind of find what's comfortable to you. You know, some people, you might find yourself just naturally having these conversations with people, while they're waiting. And then, other times you can really use this as like your tool to guiding, those conversations. Yeah, that's all about financial referrals. Remember your resources, I guess. You have a manual, all of the information about these different financial referrals. There's details in there about, these different things, so you can always feel free, like, let's say somebody checked off financial coaching and you don't really remember what that one was about. If you have your manual with you, you can take some time to read about it before you go and talk with a customer about that referral. So next steps, please finish your volunteer standard of conduct test. Were there any questions about that right now? Okay, the information for that is at the very first few pages of your manual. Make sure that you do the test and make sure that you do email your certificate or the form that shows up from that to Volunteer Resource Department. We do need to have that on your first day of volunteering. If you did not complete that, you cannot volunteer that day. So you'll want to get that completed before your first shift. And then take a look at the volunteer training website if you would like. Familiarize yourself with logistics, I guess, and your schedule. I don't know how that works personally. But and then attend training CSB part 3. So part 3, we talked about credit reports. I don't think we're going to talk about credit reports in part 3, but we will talk about the checkout process, and we will be doing more interactive things and not just me spewing information at you in part 3.
And that's tomorrow, right?
Oh yeah, that is tomorrow.